How much of the reality that surrounds you has emerged out of the realm of possibility because of what you've said? A lot. And you've had this huge influence on the world that's all a consequence, almost all a consequence of what you've said. And so there's an insistence in the Judeo-Christian canon that that the capacity that words have to shape possibility is akin or identical to the process that generates reality itself. I think that's true. That's why in the opening chapters of Genesis we're described as formulated in the image of God. We're like a microcosm of the process that gives rise to order itself. It's a very different view than the bottom-up materialistic view, let's say, of the Enlightenment and the scientific world. It's a different way of looking at things. It's the notion that what is in front of you is a field of indeterminate possibility. It's got some implicit structure, as the scientists insist, but it's open, and you grapple with it like you grapple with your dawning consciousness in the morning. What confronts you in the morning is a field of possibility, and you approach that with a certain kind of orientation, and you use your words and your linguistic capacity to think to shape that possibility. And if you do that properly, then you make, this is the Genesis 1 insistence again, you make the order that's good or very good, and that depends on your orientation. So in the Sermon on the Mount, for example, which is an instruction manual, Christ tells his listeners how to orient themselves in the world properly. So he says, first, aim with all your heart at the highest good you can imagine. Now you'll get better at that as your vision clears, but that's the orientation. To do what's right, you might say, like what is right, what is truth, but most people know the difference between right and wrong. You know at least step by step what would move you forward and upward. So you orient yourself to the highest possible upward place. Then you make the assumption that other people have the same intrinsic value that you do. So that's your initial aim and presumption. And then you pay attention to the moment. The instruction is to aim up with everything. And then, having that firmly in mind, to pay attention, as much attention as you can to each moment, to allow the words to come to you that best suit that upward aim, not to subordinate your language to your own machinations or manipulations or your own hedonistic desire, but towards what's right. And if you do that, then what emerges out of possibility is akin to the garden, to the original garden in Genesis 1, and it's the order that's good. Truthful language brings about the order that's good. Well, that's a very accurate way of portraying the role consciousness plays in bringing about reality. And it's not that viewpoint, by the way, isn't limited to the Judeo-Christian canon. You see the same thing in the Taoist representation, because in the Taoist world, you have a domain of order, it's the white serpent, and the domain of chaos or possibility is the black serpent in the Taoist image, the two snakes, head to tail. And your job is to walk the line between them. And you can tell when you're walking that line because that's where things are maximally meaningful. And so that's another element of this vision, which is that if you orient yourself with upward aim and you straddle the line between order and chaos, then things become maximally meaningful around you.